Hello friends, welcome to the session of Learn Selenium testing. Today we are going to talk about Appium.io. Appium is an open source automation tool to test native, web view and hybrid application in iOS and Android device. Native apps are written using iOS or Android SDK. Mobile view apps are like web apps accessed by browser like Chrome or Safari, and hybrid apps are a wrapper around web view, a native control that interact with web views. Ionic or Cordova PhoneGap is the best example for that, where you actually write your app into web technologies and bundle into native UI libraries. So Appium is a cross-platform test tool. That means you can use Appium APIs to write automation and write and execute your test on iOS and Android. So in this tutorial we'll be using a Java to write automation scripts, and let's talk about something fundamental about Appium. So there are 5 core features, a philosophy around Appium. So first thing is, Appium is a client server architecture. So what is client server architecture? So actually Appium is based on REST APIs. It means it receive a connection from client, accept and process the command and execute those commands onto the mobile device or your emulator or in a cloud. And that is why it's very easy. You can write your application, you write your code in various languages, whoever supports API like Java, C#, Ruby, PHP. So they have interface for that, and then you can write your code and then you send these commands to Appium, and Appium is actually goes to your device or emulator depending upon your own need and your setting, your configuration, and executes there. Second is session. So what does it mean? Appium always perform automation in session. So client establish a session with server and sends a command that end up sending post session with a JSON object that's called desired capability object. So at this point, server establish a connection with session ID, which can be used to perform further commands. Desired capabilities. Desired capabilities are combination of key value with map your settings, and then based on the settings you actually configure your test environment. So you can give like what kind of capabilities you need what kind of server you want, what kind of version you want, where the app located at. So you give this desired capabilities, and based on that you perform your test. Appium server. So what is Appium server? Appium server is written in Node.js, and this is the one which is the core which actually process your commands and test on your emulator or in device. What is Appium client? That is the one which you are actually going to write your code. So there are multiple libraries in Java, Ruby, .NET, Python, etc., which supports Appium extension to the WebDriver protocol. So right now this is enough for now. So before that we need to do installation. For installation I have given everything in my blog. You can go to the blog and you can go through that. You need Xcode if you're using Mac. You need to install the stable version of Ruby. Command is here. You just need to run those commands into your terminal. Then you need to install bundler and RubyGem. After that you need to make sure that you are using any version higher than 2.1.5, and then you need to install Appium console. For that you need to follow those steps. Once it is done, then you need to install brew. After doing brew you need to install ant. So say if you want to install the ant, either you just run the brew command or you need to follow those steps. It's in detail. In case if you're using Windows, you can follow that step, and I believe this one is enough for that. And now you need to install So once it is done, you are ready to test. Let's talk about Appium, an app under test, and Appium and Appium Inspector. So before going to Appium or Appium Inspector, let's try to install our demo application. So what I did, I built an app instead of trying with any existing one, because they keep on changing, and I do not want my app under test to be changed. So for that, I built my own app, and I used Ionic to build that. You can learn about more about Ionic is an hybrid application platform. You can create SDK, you can create hybrid apps using that. It's pretty simple. I loved it. For that, you need to go ionicframework.com, and that will take you to the framework website. From here, you can do whatever you want to. So this is not the matter of this tutorial, but we'll talk about setting up that app under test in your local machine for now. So you need to first install Ionic in your machine, and I have already created a code for that, and that is on my GitHub account. So you just need to clone it, go to that folder, and then build that add that platform, iOS into that, or Android, based on your own need. And then if you're using Windows, you can do with Android, and then you build your iOS, and once you emulate that, you can see that. So let's go and check how it's look like. So here is my app. Everything is my local machine, so you can see that. I'll just go and run the command ionic serve, no, emulate, actually ionic emulate iOS. So it'll take some time. It will emulate on the emulator. So emulator will start, and then you can see that app, and I'll give you the very quick navigation to the app, so you can understand what is app and what we are going to test. So this application has right now just have one thing, a basic form. In that form we have first name and last name. Meanwhile, okay, it's ready now, so I think we can wait here. So in that form we have two fields, as I said, first name, last name, and then a button. So the job of that form is to accept the first name and last name and capitalize that name and display on the screen. Very basic. So as I said, second menu, basic demo form, I can write a name, Jack. Let me modify it, Jack, and Smith. And if I submit, I should see all capitalized. The first character is capitalized and everything is as lowercase. So my scenario is to write first name, last name, submit, and verify that if I am able to get my verified, this format or not. So we are good for now. Let's go here, and once we build, I know that what is the location where my test is. So my app is located here, so I'll save that location, because I'm going to use in my Appium now. So we are ready with our app under test. So next is Appium installation and app inspector. So for that, you need to go to a link I have given here in appium.dmg. Once you click on that, it will download here, like in my case it tried to, but the location is here. I'll give that location into the YouTube video description, so you can go and download the latest version of the Appium. Like here right now, this is the latest one. If you're watching this video after the new version, so you can find another version, and same way with the Windows. So whatever the system, just based on that, download it and install on your machine. One thing about Mac users, be careful. If you download your app, for say if I try to download it, it will download for me, and if I go in my download folder, it will be look like something unconfirmed, some number and CR download, like that. Actually it is downloaded, but in the folder it will not look like. So in that case, you need to go there and rename the file. to appium.dmg, and then you can start installing. Once it start installing, you just drag and drop into the application and you are ready to go. So here the screen. So instead of talking about here, let's talk about in the actual Appium. So let me start Appium. Okay, Appium started. Okay, what are those fields? You can see this is the console area where your log will appear. That is to launch the this button is to launch the server. If I click on that, it will start the server and you can see the logs here. This icon is for doctor. If you click on that, it will check the health of your system configuration, and it will tell you whether your system is configured properly for iOS and Android or not. So in my case, I have not configured my system for Android, so it should tell me. Okay, so it says running iOS checks, everything is fine. For Android, okay, doctor detected a problem, please fix and return Appium doctor. So my Android is not set up because it says Android home is not set. So few things which we need to set up, like I have Xcode is installed, Xcode command line tools are installed, DevTools security is enabled, the authorization DB is offset properly, node binary found, iOS check are successful, everything is done. We are good. Now here is Android and Apple icon. So if you click on, so if I choose, so my device will start based on my test environment will set up based on that radio buttons. So for say right now we are going for app in iOS. So first, before that, I need to do some settings. So click on that Apple icon. I can see basic, everything is grayed out because my server is running. So before modifying anything, I have to stop my server. Okay, everything's stopped. One more thing, I can, if I want to delete this area, I can clean this by clicking on this delete icon. But let's go back to the setting. So again, click on the iOS. Here, what is the, you have to write about, you have to give setting about your application. App path. This is the path where you actually set up your, you have your application under test. In our case, we have hybrid application, that's Ionic. So I saved in a location and I mentioned you in previous screen that it's here. So go back and you paste that location there. And if I go in the end, I can see that it's in the iOS platform folder, then build, iOS build, and then emulator, and then Appium test app.app. So here it is. In case if you're doing web testing, like mobile web, then you need to use mobile Safari. You can do that. If you want to force your device onto a specific phone, you can provide that, a specific device you can assign here. What kind of version you are running on, you can add here. If it is not there, you can just type it here. For UDID, I have another article for finding that UDID in your device. You can use that device so it will run on actual device. I'm not going to drill into advanced because you do not need for now. So I think this one is more than enough. So our app is set up here in application. So I'll expect, if I start, I'll expect that my app test, Appium test, what is the name of that? Appium test app will start. Let's go back to the Appium and I'll launch it. My server has started now. Let's wait for server to respond on port 4723, I believe. Yeah, 4723. Remember, this is the default port for Appium server. Now you need to click on App Inspector. This will start the start that emulator and your application and Appium Inspector. Let's wait for some minute, few seconds. Okay, emulator is started. Once the emulator will start, it will start the application. Let's wait for that. And once application starts, it will launch Appium inspector, and inspector is to find each element on the screen which we can utilize. It's taking too much time now, not sure why. And I can, if I want, I can keep clearing this console area from here. Okay, let's wait for some more seconds, few more seconds, and we'll see what's going on. Come on. Okay, something going on. Okay, app started. Finger crossed. Let's see. Come on, come on. Okay, now so app is up and running, and Appium inspector has started. Now see, notice something. The same screen appear into this area in the app inspector here on the right side, and there are a couple of columns here, and there's a detail field here, record button, refresh, and other option. You can play around with that. So if I change it for say like this, and I refresh my app inspector, it will take the screen from here and should display here on the app inspector. Let's wait for a few more seconds. It should appear now. By that time, by now it should come actually. Okay, now we are good. So for say, if as I mentioned, my scenario is go to the basic demo form, fill the form like first name last name, and click on the submit button and then verify. So for that I need a locator where to click. So let's see, we'll go back to the first page. So for that I'll refresh. Okay, now I'll hover here. I can see two application. If I select on that, I can see a status bar. If I go on a status bar, I can see two elements. And if you notice carefully here, you can see things are being highlighted. Elements are being highlighted. So based on that, so for say if I want to verify the time, I want to see if the time is there or not. So yeah, click on that. I can see here, this is the XPath for that element. So same way I need to go click on this menu. So 1 2 3, okay, where is that? Okay, here it is. So I know, so I need to use this one in my test. So this is the way I need to go one by one. Okay, I want to click here. Let's refresh. Okay, now that's nice. Status bar I don't need. I need Windows, scroll view, web view. So I have a button, text menu here. Okay, so I want to click on the basic demo thing. So static text. So I need this XPath in our script, which my WebDriver will inject using with this one. That's all you need. So there's an interesting thing. There's a button, a record. If you click on that, something will appear here. This is your code editor kind of, and it supports number of languages. If you want to write in C#, you can see the code here. If you want Java, Objective-C. Right now we are looking for Java, so I need this code, so I can copy that code and I can utilize this one into actual code. So remember that we are going to use this code as a very starting. So let's talk about so far we know that how to start the Appium, how to launch the app inspector, and how to inspect each element and use those elements XPath in our test. And same time you can open a record and see the IDE, or you can say a test code editor kind of stuff, and here you can copy that code and paste into your actual code to start the first step. I think now let's move to setting up Eclipse, and I'll show you how to set up Eclipse if you're new, if you're kind of expert in Ruby. That's not Ruby but Java, you are fine. If not, then it'll help you. I'll give you a guide, step-by-step guide how to add there. Okay, in this section we'll talk about setting up the test environment, tools and app under test. So we'll start the writing code. So before writing a code, we need to understand that we need some libraries, Java libraries. Those are interacting with your app, and you need in writing a code. So first thing, you need a Appium Java client, that is the native Java client for Appium. You can download that from Maven website. If you go to Maven, search for Appium and you go for Java client, it'll reach there, and here is the jar file. Just need to download it. I downloaded into my download folder. It's here, appium.dmg. No, here it is, Java client 3.4.1, my bad. And next thing, you need Selenium libraries. For that, you need to go to Selenium HQ website, that is seleniumhq.org, I believe. Yeah, you need to go to download folder, download tab, and download tab you need to go here and download the latest one, Java client. And once you download, it'll get the zip file, unzip it and save it, and then you start the Eclipse. Let's go there, I'll show you. Okay, now you download that both jar files. Now you need to start the Eclipse. You start the you launch the workspace, and once you go to the workspace, you start a blank project. Once you start a new blank Java project, it will ask you to fill the name. I gave Appium basic form test, and then I complete the whole process, so I have a project. So I need to add the code. So in src folder, I'll right click on that and go to the properties. Before writing a project, let's add the libraries. So to add libraries, go to properties, in Java build path, go to libraries tab and click on add external jar button, and it'll take you, and then choose all the jar files which you downloaded, the Java client 3.4.1 and Selenium jar files into Selenium, whatever the version is. Right now I have 2.5.3. So I gathered all the jar files and into my libraries, into this library, all the libraries into my project. So I have a reference library added here. Now let's start writing the code. So you need to add the class. So add a class, give some name, com Appium testing, give the name of Appium iOS test, and you get this one. So now after that you are good. Now I'm going to give you the code which is in this website already given here. You just need to copy paste, and I'll explain how it is going to work. Let's go back to the actual code. Okay, so here it is, the same page, the same file, no changes as it is. I copy paste this code. What is that? If you, let's minimize everything. If you have done JUnit, it's easy for you to understand. Here is all the libraries I'm using, all the packages, everything which I downloaded in the jar file, I'm using it here. That's Appium and Selenium. Now I have a setup, test iOS and tear down. In setup, I have all those desired capabilities like Appium version, platform version, device name. I'm using testing on iPhone 5. The app is, here is the location when I build this Ionic app, and here is the location of the server. As I said, by default is 4723. And then I'll start as same as the Selenium WebDriver. You start the driver, and then you find element, give XPath, and this path I use inspector, copy paste, and then perform the same action. Nothing rocket science, all simple. I typed, and I'm finding the element, getting the XPath for that area where I'm printing my the card where I'm printing the first name, last name, and I'm trying to assert if it is matching or not, it's verifying or not. So let's go. Let's run this test. You'll see this will start. Okay, it asking me to allow Eclipse app to accept network connection. I'll say yes. Some error. Oh, so my server is not started, I believe. My bad. Let me launch it. Look like it started. Let's run it. Yep, something is started. So waiting for device to boot. Okay, so this will start the emulator and perform all the steps what I gave in my code. So ideally it should click on the menu, open the basic form, type Jack Smith, click on the button and verify that. Let's see in action. Yeah, it's going to take some time. Yeah, a little slow. Come on. Okay, everything's fine here. I have no issues. It's working. No filters. Good news. Okay, look like it's ready to run. Okay, let it start. Should I sing a song? No, do not want to torture you guys. Okay, let's start. So now server is started, you can see that. Now admin search, insert libraries. Awesome. So here is iPhone 5, you can see that the iOS 9.3 as I gave into the setup. Yep, let's see. Okay, let's see the game. You should click on the menu. Awesome. Basic demo form. Good. Type Jack. Awesome. Now click on Smith. Type here Smith. Close the done button. Hide the keyword. Okay, now click on the submit. Oh, now it verifies Jack Smith, coming perfectly. Done. Let's complete. Test complete. Yay! So now green, all pass. So now you can see that's very easy. People think that, oh, Appium is kind of big deal, but it's very simple. So now you can write number of scenarios, number of use cases, and you can customize this framework into custom framework kind of things. You can customize it. I just gave you the very basic example so you can at least get us started. At least you can have a POC, you can build a proof of concept for your team, give a demo. So if you like this video, if you want more videos, like, share, comment, give feedback, because your feedback is very valuable. Thank you for watching, and go through the learnslamtesting.com, look for this tutorial. We are bringing more tutorial on different languages, and we are going to start a programming tutorial that is only for programmer, only for testers who are coming from no programming background. So wait for all the new videos. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.